was your reaction to the vigil and seeing so many supporters out there for Charlie Kirk?
You know, look, I don't know that I fully appreciated just the impact, the ubiquity of his impact, really. I mean, I mean, I'm a big country music fan, so seeing people like Morgan Wallen and Jason Aldean, like mid-concert, send tributes there, send prayers to his widow, Erica Kirk. I didn't necessarily expect that, right? Morgan Wallen, Jason Aldean there. I mean, virtually all of the NFL teams, other than I think four, held a moment of silence. I grew up a diehard New York Yankees fan. The New York Yankees held a moment of silence there on that day when he was assassinated there. I did not see that coming there. So all sorts of kind of cultural totems like this, to say nothing of all the elected officials. I mean, all the cabinet officials there at the vigil there. I mean, the vice president of the United States, flying out to Utah with Air Force Two to fly from Utah to Arizona, personally holding the casket. I mean, my goodness gracious. I mean, I look, but if anyone deserved it, if anyone deserved that treatment who was not a fallen soldier, who was a civilian, a layman, it was Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk did more than literally probably anyone in America to get Donald Trump and JD Vance back in office. I mean, the effect of turning point action and getting people, especially young people, Gen Z, millennial conservatives, really Gen Z above all, to the polls last November. Extraordinary stuff. And I for one, am genuinely heartened that the president and vice president are paying this level of respect to our fallen friend.
Yeah. Do you think that Gen Z really is kind of making this, maybe let's say, more permanent turn towards conservatism, and is going to stay strong in that? Because I know it was happening before this, and we were seeing a lot of young people, especially men, turning towards conservatism. But it seems like since Charlie's passing, we've seen even more people be more interested in conservatism, going to church, being just drawn to his work. And so, are you kind of predicting that will continue?
Yeah, look, the Gen Z polling is kind of a mixed bag depending on the issue. They are definitely a more church attending demographic than old generations, which is an amazing thing. I think Charlie probably single-handedly has a decent amount to do with that, honestly. I mean, if you look at his past few years there, his message in Turning Point, when Turning Point was first founded many years ago, it was kind of like a big government sucks, stop socialism, a lot of talk about economic issues, Tea Party era, size of government. And to be clear, he cared about those issues. But, I think as he got older, as he got married, as he became a father, I kind of see this in myself, right? I mean, when you get married, you get older, you're kind of focused, the issues that you focus on kind of naturally gravitates. And he became kind of increasingly focused on this, on this notion of trying to get young men to start asking girls out, to start trying to go on dates, to become a man, to get married, to have children, build a home, to advance in your career there. I mean, kind of like Jordan Peterson, like make your bed style of basic advice there. And, for a generation like Gen Z, which is growing up with, catastrophically low rates of home ownership there and all sorts of other metrics where they're falling behind prior generations, I think Charlie's voice was absolutely indispensable. Now, on the other hand, you can look at Gen Z polling that shows that a shockingly high percentage of Gen Z, call themselves socialists. A shockingly high percentage of Gen Z supports Hamas over Israel. So, I mean, there definitely are some warning signs here, to be clear. But overall, I mean, when you look at kind of the straight up or down kind of referendum, which was the 2024 election last November there, yeah, Gen Z came out pretty powerfully for Donald Trump I mean, it was basically a coin flip, right? Kamala versus Trump among Gen Z, which is shocking. I mean, absolutely shocking compared to someone myself who remembers vividly 2008. I was a sophomore in college during the Barack Obama, Hope and Change election there. I don't think I literally think, Danielle, I was like the only person in my fraternity, like maybe one other person voted for John McCain that year in 2008 there. I mean, everyone's for Obama. Everyone's for Barack Obama there. So you compare then to, 2024, where Donald Trump is basically splitting even in that demographic with Kamala. I mean, that is a veritable sea change. I think Turning Point and Charlie had a lot to do with that.